Hi, I'm Penny, and in this video I'm going to be showing what's in my chemo bag, things that I think are essential to have with me on chemotherapy day. So let's get into it. So first off, the bag itself. I've got this lovely big squishy tote which I got very cheaply off Amazon. It's got a lot of internal pockets and organisation so you can sort out your stuff. It's got super soft handles which I can wear on my shoulder, on the crook of my arm, or just hold in my hand. So super handy to have something like this that's just easy, cheap, I don't have to worry about it, fits all my stuff. In terms of the things that I take with me, broadly these fall into a number of categories. First category is hydration and nutrition. So I always have with me a really large bottle of water, and I keep this topped up when I'm at the hospital. It's very important on chemotherapy day to stay really hydrated, also the day before and the day after, and generally while you're having chemotherapy, but particularly around the treatment time. So always have a large bottle of water with me. And then I usually take a packed lunch. This is my trusty pretty lunch box that I take as a bit of a treat. Usually I will take something really bland to eat, like a chicken salad, just so I've got something on me that I know my body will be able to tolerate. There is food at the hospital, but I prefer to bring my own lunch. As some of you know, having chemotherapy just wreaks havoc with your stomach, so best to be in control of what you're eating. I will usually also have a couple of snacks with me, like some nuts or some fruits, but nutrition and hydration, category number one. Category number two, I would say, is technology, distraction, entertainment, whatever you want to call it. I will usually take with me my phone, my Kindle in case I want to read, and my iPad in case I want to watch something. And that sort of combination works for me. Initially, when I first started going to chemotherapy, I would also take with me a mini jigsaw puzzle, because as some of you know, I'm a jigsaw puzzle fan, and I thought it would be a really nice distraction, but I'll come on to it in a minute. Because I'm doing cryotherapy for my hands during treatment, I'm not actually able to do a jigsaw puzzle, so I don't really take that with me anymore. I stick to listening to something, reading, or watching something on my iPad. So that's category number two, entertainment, distraction, technology. Category number three is self-care. So things that you might need for just looking after yourself on the day. So here's some examples of what I take with me. First of all, I have these little anti-nausea wristbands that I have. I usually wear one on each wrist. I'll take off my watch if I'm feeling particularly nauseous on the day. I don't do it every time, but if I'm feeling nauseous, I've got them in the bag. I know they're always there if I need them, and I can put them on. Sometimes they help. I've got some hand sanitizer, some tissues, and then in my little trusty little pouch, I also have some lip balm, paracetamol, hand cream. I also have my earphones in here and my wallet. And then I also have this cream that they gave me at the hospital to apply to my port before I have treatment, about 30 minutes before treatment. So I put the cream on and then I cover it with a dressing before I leave the house. So it's usually at the very top of my chemotherapy bag, so I remember when I pick up the bag to apply the cream before I leave. And then I have my treatment book that I need just for the nurses to put my appointments in and stuff. Category number three, I'd say, is sort of self-care. In addition to these things, I also have a nice soft blanket for when things get a bit cold during the treatment. Category number five is personal effects, I guess you'd say. For me, it's just my wallet, which I keep in my pouch, but you might have some other sort of personal items that you want to take with you. And then I've also just got my glasses for reading. And then the last category of items might not be relevant for everyone, but it is for me, is cryotherapy, so things for cold treatment. So I am doing scalp cooling to try and preserve my hair during chemotherapy, and in addition to that, I'm doing cryotherapy for my hands and feet to help prevent neuropathy, because I've had some tingling and unpleasant sensations in my hands and feet since starting chemotherapy. Now, when I initially started treatment, my hospital didn't have any equipment for hands and feet. They do now. They have a cryotherapy machine for hands and feet cooling during treatment, which is excellent. But before then, they didn't. And I was using some cold socks and gloves that I had purchased from Amazon. So that's these, and they come with ice packs that go in a separate cool bag. So I was using those initially, and I was packing these in my bag and then taking a cool bag for the actual ice blocks that go in them. But I have to say, since starting the treatment with my hospital, I have not gone back to these, and I would not go back to these because the cold on these is quite extreme compared to the machine that my hospital has. So I think the temperature of the equipment at the hospital is set between 15 and 17 degrees, which is very tolerable and manageable, whereas these are obviously frozen, using frozen blocks, and are extremely cold. But anyway, if you're doing cryotherapy, you might want to consider something like this. I always take with me a hairband to protect my hairline from the scalp cooling cap, because it comes down quite low, and if it gets onto the hairline, that can be quite painful. So I was advised to buy a hairband. I've got one. I take it with me for the scalp cooling. And then finally, I always have with me my trusty thermos flask, into which I take frozen fruit. So I think the recommendation is for you to suck on some ice chips or ice cubes when you're at the hospital. My hospital doesn't provide a facility for that, and I couldn't practically figure out how to take ice chips with me without them melting. So my alternative, which is preferable because it's not quite so cold, is I take frozen fruit, and I usually take frozen cherries because I find those to be the most effective. It's a little round ball of fruit, sits in your mouth, it's quite cold, you can move it around your cheeks and helps to keep your mouth cold during the treatment. So I'll take the whole flask, typically have a handful of cherries as the treatment progresses. Every 5 to 10 minutes I'll have a cherry just to keep my mouth cool. So that's it really. So you've got hydration and nutrition, entertainment and technology, self-care, personal effects, and cryotherapy if you're doing that. So I'll just show you how I pack my bag. Lunchbox goes into the main compartment in the middle, along with the thermos. The water goes into the pouch on the side, and then my treatment book, Kindle and iPad slot into the side compartment, which is very handy for things like this, perfect fit. And then my pouch and personal effects just go into the little side pockets, and that fits really easily with no issues. The towel just sits on the top, as does the cream, to remind me to apply it before I go. And then into the side pockets, I had previously put these gloves and socks, and then I had the separate bag for the cool pouch. So those just slot into the side like so. And then the wristbands just go in the side pockets with the other personal effects. So that's it, fully packed. It's pretty heavy when it's all packed up, but I can just pop it on my shoulder or just bring it in my hand. And then my phone just slides down the side where the iPad is. And that's it, all packed up, ready for chemo. That's it for today. See you in the next one.